Steve Richards on Alt 105.7. We are at Outlaw Fest 2018 at SPAC on a beautiful fall day. Look who I found, Nathaniel Rateliff, Joseph, from Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. Welcome, guys. How's Outlaw Fest going? You've been on a couple of shows, right, already?
Yeah, we did one just the other day, and then in between that, yesterday was Farm Aid.
Farm Aid? How did Farm Aid go?
It's always great to be a part of it, and I feel like we always leave a little less ignorant than we were going into it, and just get to meet people and really kind of just work on problems, grassroots, and hopefully change things. But it's a bummer that we're still having to fight for the same things that people have been fighting for since the 30s and the 70s, and it's not getting any easier. So, but like I said, it's nice to meet people and feel like we're helping work on something positive that actually affects people in our country. So.
The new album, Tearing at the Seams, came out in March of this year. This was more of a collaborative effort on this album. Right on the first one, the huge success of the first album was really all you. But this time you incorporated everyone to contribute to it, right?
Yeah, since the first record, we've all kind of become more of a band and figured out, or, we're still trying to figure out what it is we're doing. But it was nice to try to, we trust each other so much. It's nice to pull from everybody else's abilities, and it kind of helps me write in a different way.
Playing over 200 shows a year for the last three years really does something to you as a group of performers that I don't know how else you get to that unless you're just playing all the time. So we try to use that experience and take it in with us to the studio, and it was definitely a different kind of recording experience than I think we've been a part of before. And I think the result is that you get something maybe bigger than you could do just on your own, so we're real proud of that thing.
Has it been a blur? I mean, you said 200 shows. I mean, and the success of that first album, has it all been a blur and gone by so fast?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of haven't really stopped working. So even on our times off, then it's time to try to write and try to figure out what the hell we're going to do now. So it definitely has been a blur, but it's all been, we've worked our whole lives to try to achieve what we're actually doing right now. So hopefully we can continue to keep it going. And, our fans have been really supportive and really changed our lives in a big way. So we owe them a lot. So.
Was there a lot more pressure after the success of the first album on this? Did you feel it for the sophomore effort?
Oh yeah, I mean, you jerk not to.
Yeah, it's an awesome responsibility. I mean that in the true sense of the word. Like there's a weight, and you want to. It's not about pleasing the fans necessarily, although we want our fans to be happy. But it's about taking the opportunity that we've been given through the work that we've done and the luck we've had and the fans that we have to kind of just keep building upon that and to keep pushing ourselves as artists to keep digging to find the next thing.
Herman, Missouri.
Yeah.
Where you from? When you were in that church band, that family church band, playing drums, and you were walking around those country roads, talking music, thinking about music, did you ever get this far in your dreams?
This is exactly what we dreamt about being able to do. Being able to do
Well, I think we were thinking more like Beatles level, but we're still working on it.
It's what we've wanted to do since we were really young to pour ourselves into this thing, and definitely got to a point where I was 35 and thinking maybe I should go to college for the first time, but we got really lucky with the success of this record. So, there's been times along this path that there was a moment where we went to Red Rocks when we were younger and ride our motorcycles up there and sit there on the stage at night and just dream about playing there someday. And literally a dream come true to be able to go back to our hometown now and do that show every year. We're kind of beside ourselves with the opportunities we've had, but we don't know where. You just want to keep going and see how far you can take it and how much you can do. But here we are.
1998, you moved to Denver. Why Denver?
We followed some friends out there, and that was kind of the only. We got stuck there. Our plan was San Diego, but we ended up getting a couple of good jobs after we kind of did some work with homeless folks around the country and kind of based out of Denver. And I don't know, we just kind of got stuck and fell in love with the place. And Denver's really become home, even though we're still really attached to our hometown of Missouri, and our moms live there. And just kind of really by accident.
We just got on I-70 and drove west for 800 miles and stopped at the next big city we came to.
Well, Joey tried to make it to San Diego, but he hitchhiked to Salt Lake City, which was the wrong direction. So.
I made it there eventually.
Yeah.
So tearing at the seams, you did a lot of writing in New Mexico. Is that just, you just want to go to a place for some solitude and where you can think and get the creative juices going?
Well, I wanted to go to the ocean and just kind of spend, I think it was always a dream of ours to go somewhere and isolate ourselves and like work on writing, you know, instead of just like me sitting at a table somewhere and bringing, you know, ideas to another table.
Right.
But yeah, we ended up having a shorter amount of time than we thought we were going to have, and it was our next show was going to end up being in Arizona. So we're like, well, let's go to New Mexico instead. Or we were actually looking at like Tucson and ended up finding a place in Rodeo, New Mexico, which ended up being kind of the perfect spot because it was secluded and in this sort of like dark sky communities. There's no lights other than stars at night, and you know, it just gave us the space to just be us and be a little family unit and see what we could come up with. And we came up with like 11 songs in 7 days there. And then from there we went to Richard Swift's in May, and then left there with about 18 songs, but then didn't feel like the record was done, so went back again to Richard's and did a bunch of stuff live together in the studio that ended up kind of finalizing the record.
Yeah, Richard Swift produced the album. What has he meant to you in this band? You had a great chemistry with him.
Yeah, well, he's meant a lot to us, and you know, he's brought a lot to the table. He recently passed away, so it's, you know, we're kind of all reeling from that blow. It was very unexpected. So I don't know what we'll do now as far as that's concerned, and you know, other than just really missing Richard. You know, there's very few people that can bring what he brought to the music, and just sonically, and we just laughed so much. You know, I've never laughed so much just recording together. It made it really easy, and that was always his approach. It's just like, man, this should be easy. And you know, his, you know, people would be like, well, what do you do for vocals? Like,
what's your process?
Yeah, what's your process? He's like, I put up a mic and you go in there and you sing. That's pretty much it. And and so he really, you know, that's kind of the way I always like to work in my attic, just like kind of one mic and moving stuff around and for demos. And that's the way we were making the records. Is the same way we would make demos, and I really enjoyed that, you know, because I feel like everybody has this idea or expectation of what the studio's supposed to be, or that it's supposed to be really hard and you know, really emotional, and it is those things sometimes, but mostly it was just, you know, setting up one mic and getting into a room, or sometimes a couple of mics, and just hashing it out and then just playing and leaving those like kind of raw mistakes in there and keeping it as honest as possible, and then in that time still enjoying each other's company and laughing our asses off.
There's a lot of laughing.
Yeah.
There was a memorial for him in Portland recently, and James Mercer from the Shins gave a bit of eulogy, and he said something really well, that Richard was the kind of person that, like, when he left the room, there was you could notice the difference. It was a vacuum left from his presence, you know. And that was just in daily life with the guy. He was kind of that kind of character, and he felt like a member of our band. So, you know, we're moving forward, but it's tough.
I want to talk about a couple of songs and the stories behind the songs. Biggest hit, S.O.B. What is the story behind that? You were going through some tough times.
Yeah, it was, I mean, I kind of wrote that about a situation that happened years ago when I had gone to England. I was in London and had been drinking pretty heavily, and some things had happened, and so I just decided to quit and didn't realize that how much I'd been drinking, that I ended up like detoxing and having delirium tremors. And so to make light of it, you know, at the beginning of the band, we were trying to stretch time in the show, and I was like, man, I really want to do kind of a call and response with a bunch of like all of us singing, and those kind of just ended up being the words that I came up with, and kind of like talking about that situation and trying to make light of it, but be honest about it. You know, this industry is, you know, we lose a lot of people to drugs and excess, and so, you know, it's something that like we all have a good time, but it's really, you know, I don't think everybody talks about it in an honest way, and so it's been nice to write a song about that people connect to, and in a partying aspect, which is funny to me sometimes. And then I've also had people come up and be like, feel like the songs really touched them and made them able to talk about addiction in their lives and substance abuse. So, you know.
Well, we met a guy in Quebec City recently, just a couple weeks ago, and he kind of said that he had gone through rehab and that the music really helped him. And it's nice to hear that, you know, because I guess at the end of the day, like, if it helps to destigmatize something that is a problem in our society, then and makes it more able for us to have real conversations about it, then I think that that's pushing things forward, hopefully.
And then on this album, how about Hey Mama? What's the story behind that one?
You know, that was, I kind of wrote that on the road a lot, or a lot of it, I was just kind of tinkering around with the idea. And everybody kind of kept singing the original, like, melody I'd come up with. I was like, stop singing that, because I was like, I want it to be something else. And then finally, Jamie Medford, who helped us record stuff in New Mexico, who kind of co-produced the record, also at some point was just like, you know, that's the song. Just like, you just need to write it. And so when we got to New Mexico, I just finally sat down and hashed it out eventually. But, you know, I think as soon as my sister heard it, she was like, Mom, Nathaniel wrote a song for you. And I was like, no, it's not about Mom. But, you know, I definitely had those conversations, those calls to my mom. So it was just kind of like, you know, trying to write from a perspective of things that have kind of happened in my life, but more the idea of just that, you know, that person in your life, whether it be your mom or not, but someone who's trying to convince you. It's like there's so much more to work for and to push through, and regardless of how hard life or your circumstances are in your life, that it's important to see past that. You know? So you can't contemplate the future that hasn't happened yet, so we don't worry about it.
So you got the sophomore effort done. What's in store? What's next? Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats in 2019.
I think we're going to keep touring this record for a while, hopefully.
Yeah, they really, you know, record cycles, they'll get as much as they can out of it. So I think we're just going to have to start trying to learn how to write on the road, which is a real pain in the ass
Yeah.
to me.
So you haven't been doing too much writing now?
A little bit. I mean, there's some stuff left over from the last session that we're still kind of going to work through. But, you know, the songs, you just never know when they're going to find their time. And some of the songs that we've been working on right now are ideas that have been around for a really long time in our world. And they just kind of, they come up when it's time for them to come up to the surface. So we have a lot of touring next year. You know, traveling the world. Hopefully.
We have a couple of breaks, so I'm sure I'll end up writing.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll see them again soon.
I hope
Nathaniel Rateliff, Joseph Fofa, Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats on Alt 105.7.